Guten Tag, hello. My name is Rob McLeod. I am the CEO of Cambria Gold Mines. And while our technical team, there's our slide deck. Lots to talk about today. Make sure you stick around to the end of the presentation because we have a little bit of a surprise within the portfolio that is going to be very interesting for our existing shareholders and potentially new ones. I'm a partner within the Fiore Group. We are based out of Vancouver. We believe we have the top mining group in Canada right now. We specialize in certain things such as finding distressed assets and adding a tremendous amount of value for our investors. Myself and my colleague who's here, Ryan Waymark, we're co-founders of Selkirk Copper Mines, West Red Lake Gold Mines, Nations Royalty. We have other great companies in the group, such as Copper Giant. Our spiritual leader, as we call him, is Frank Justra and Partners. Frank is one of globally the top mining entrepreneurs of all time, starting many of the biggest mining companies in the world, such as Endeavour Mining, Wheaton Precious Metals, Aris Mining is his latest one. So pay attention. You can Fiore has a website to see the 10 companies that are within the group. So this company used to be called Ascot Resources. A lot of investors lost a lot of money on this company. The Fiore management team came in January of this year to save the company and recapitalize and restructure with a new vision. The assets here are substantial, and I know these very well. I'm a third-generation miner from British Columbia. I grew up near these mines. My grandfather, father, uncle, many family members worked here, as well as myself, ever since I started my career in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia. There is a brand new mill, 2,500 tons per day. There are 4 deposits on 2 properties for over 3 million ounces, mostly measured and indicated, and these are very high grade, the highest grade undeveloped gold deposits in Canada. They're permitted. We have excellent agreement. We have an agreement and uniquely good relationships with the First Nations and tremendous exploration upside. We've recently raised $190 million through equity to recapitalize these companies and a tremendous group of institutional and corporate shareholders. We are located in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia, right on the border with Alaska. As mentioned, there are 2 properties here, the premier property, which has the mill, and the key to our execution is to develop the Red Mountain deposit, which by road will be 50 kilometers away. Our vision is to process ore from both properties with a vision of around 150,000 ounces per year. Additionally, this is unique in that there's a lot of deposits that don't have mills. Many of you that have followed this business for a while know Dolly Varden Silver. There's ore nearby from Dolly that can go through this mill. Scotty Resources. Contango ore could bring in ore from Alaska. So we like the scalability of this. But what went wrong? Ryan and I used to be the management of the company that held the Red Mountain deposit called IDM Mining, and it was acquired by Ascot 7 years ago. Here we are buying it back because of some fundamental errors the previous management teams made. First of all, they built the mill too large for these ore bodies. It's done now. You can probably put 3,000 tons through it, so we need to now scale to make sure that ore is filled. They didn't have enough ore to put through the mill. They started the underground development way too late. They used the incorrect geological models. Essentially, they didn't do enough drilling. Ryan and I have seen this at many projects like West Red Lake, that often management teams tried to build mines with indicated resources, not measured. Red Mountain doesn't need any more drilling. It's almost 900,000 ounces total, but 544,000 ounces of measured resources at almost 9 grams per ton. And it's not a narrow vein. It's very wide. The first 2 years of mining is 10.5 grams per ton at an average thickness of 25 meters, which is probably the width of this room. So you can supply lots of tons through that mill. So the ore would be trucked through my hometown of Stewart and blended in with the other ore bodies, which are narrower. And so you would have a nice mine that is scalable. Two elements of risk that you need to know as investors. These are in high mountains of British Columbia, and you get world record snow here. You will get 30 meters of snow in the winter, seriously. And so you really need to know how to operate here. It can be a higher cost, and there can be an element of risk because of the big avalanches. So our intention at Red Mountain, we mine for 9 months of the year, and we stockpile the ore so we can process it year-round. All of this will go into a feasibility study at the end of the year. What we did to restructure the company, it was weeks away from bankruptcy last September. We reached agreement with the creditors to give us a 3-year window, a 3-year break on the covenants of their agreements. There's about 23 million US in debt to a group called Nabari. They're giving us a break to be able to execute on our plan. There is $80 million in payables. We settled that for $14 million because otherwise the company was going bankrupt and creditors would have gotten nothing. We raised $175 million in equity. Price was at 60 cents per share. We closed yesterday at $1.49. It was a unit deal, so there's half warrants at 85 cents. Those are also in the money. They expire in December. That will bring in another $120 million. So this is, again, is also on our website, $550 million market cap. We believe that the potential is to go much, much higher when you look at peer companies. The companies we are emulating are Skeena Resources and Artemis Mining, two British Columbia developers that are now worth billions and billions of dollars. This is a little smaller, but close. Very, very good blue chip institutional shareholders. There's a mining company out of Peru. They own 38%, called Coriapu, private company. Franklin Templeton owns 12%. As management team, we own about the same with Frank Juster and myself, Ryan, and other major shareholders. And then, you know, Libra, Ruffer, Delbrook Capital, Primevest, Australian funds. I think we only had one hedge fund that came in, as well as very, very good retail investors, including Michael Turk, and got quite a few of his friends that have come in, and we have a lot of very good German shareholders in this company. You can go to our website in lieu of time for looking at the management teams. So again, 2 projects at the past producing Premier mine. That's where the mill is located. There's 3 deposits. We are drilling here right now. We will have some drill results out in the next couple of weeks. Again, this wasn't drilled enough by the previous management team. So we're doing what's called infill drilling to make sure we know exactly where the veins are and the grades so we can incorporate those into our feasibility study. This table, which is also on the website, you can see how the previous company failed because there's no measured resources at Premier, just at Red Mountain. And so again, over 3 million ounces, and actually a lot of drilling since this resource table was published. Red Mountain has existing underground development, 2 kilometers of production-sized drifting that would cost $20 million to reproduce. That's a photo of it. We have a mining fleet up there. It's steep mountains and glaciers, but this is what we do in northwestern British Columbia. A lot of potential. In fact, there's new veins. If some of you might follow a junior called Goliath Resources, there's similar veins that have melted out from glaciers within the past few years that look very, very similar. Red Mountain Resources, 3.2 million tons, measured and indicated. Again, no drilling required here for at least 5 to 7 years. The reason this is very expensive drilling too, you need helicopters for everything. It's about $800 per meter. So we're not going to drill this until we have road access. I'll just keep on skipping through a few slides here. There's a lot of infrastructure, again, in place. Brand new, beautiful mill, water treatment facilities, underground fleet, 6 kilometers of recently constructed tunnels. These are all sunk costs that now our shareholders can take advantage of. The biggest element of execution risk is building an access road. These are eminently doable. It's like building up a road up to a ski hill. We're actually looking at putting an aerial tram line. Doppelmayr just gave us a quote, about $30 million to put in. It's like a ski lift for rocks. That will go from the top of the mountain down into the valley. Our timeline, and this is lessons that we've learned from companies like West Red Lake. It's mining. Mining always takes longer and costs more money. So we raised more money than what we expected, and we're giving guidance to our investors. We want to restart in 2027, but we want to make sure we're sufficiently capitalized if it takes until 2028 to get started. So here it's a surprise, but not a surprise. There, 4 management teams ago in Ascot, there was a project in the United States that they were advancing. It is a copper-gold porphyry. I always knew it was in the portfolio when we took over the management team in January, but I thought it was small. It isn't. The last resource was done in 1980. You see it's located, some of you may know of a volcano that erupted then called Mount St. Helens. You ever hear of that? It's located near it. And so it was like the whole property was covered with ash and stuff when that erupted in 1980. The resource is 577 million tons. It's on our website of better than 0.72% copper equivalent. After that resource estimate, there is drilling that was done to double the down dip length. So we expect it's at least double that size. Here's the key. We co-own this project with the federal government of the United States. My colleague Ryan and I have been to Washington twice in the past 3 weeks, including to the White House to meet with Trump's critical minerals czar, named David Copley. The US government is very motivated to develop this project. Our focus is on the gold mines. We are going to spin this out into a new US-listed company. This has substantial value. In full honesty, this is probably worth more than our gold mines. This is probably the 3rd largest copper deposit in the United States. And it's in a very good spot to develop it, and you have a partner that is committed to build mines quickly, regardless of what you think of the politics. We were just meeting, there's a Department of Permitting to quickly facilitate building these mines in 1 year or less, and copper is critical. So stay tuned for some news on this. We will be rolling it out. Here's a cross-section. That outline, that's the 577 million ton resource. You can see that the drilling has extended almost double the dip length. So this is, and you see where the mineralization starts? At surface. This is like very limited strip ratio. This is found money for the company. You know how much this is valued right now for our investors? 0, because nobody knows about this. We've just started talking about it because we finished staking claims to expand our line package. So this is a very, very important development for the company. So stay tuned to watch the news on this in the next couple of months. This is another cross-section. Look at all these holes. Ended in mineralization and wide open for expansion. The only other deposits probably in the US that are, comparable size, there's Pebble in Alaska. That's not going to get built. That's where Trump's kid goes fishing around there. There's a big one in Arizona called Resolution. The comparable size one is Faraday copper if you follow them, and it's lower grade, and that's a $1.2 billion market cap. So in summary, in addition to our Mount Margaret project, exceptional value, permitted deposits, the highest grade in Canada in terms of gold, easy to mine, brand new mill, brand new surface infrastructure, a very good, highly experienced new management team. My partner Ryan has a team of 50 mining engineers that work for him out of our Vancouver office, so we have a lot of technical depth to support this. We have very, very good shareholders that are in for the long haul. We have a lot of exploration upside, but exploration is not going to be a focus. Infill drilling is, but I believe there's millions more ounces to be discovered in this very rich portion of the Golden Triangle. Lots of catalysts coming up, and that's the end of my presentation today. Any questions before the next group comes on? Thank you very much.